So today on the bench I've got this DSE device, which is actually a little DVD player, and it also does CDs as well. Built-in speakers just here. Where's cat here come from? There's currently no disc in it, and it's got no sound. And on the side here it does have a headphone jack just there, volume control, couple of jacks here as well, power supply, nothing this side. Interesting setup. I'm not quite sure if it's like a bracket or something, or a mount you could put onto it. Standard laser warnings and what have you here. So it's a G3054 portable DVD player, that's what it's called. Not sure about when it is manufactured. This is a Zone 4 DVD player, and like I said, it has no sound. So we're going to pull this thing apart. We'll demonstrate first. Probably find it's fixed itself sitting on my pile of things to fix for the past year. So we'll pair it up, demonstrate there's no sound, we'll prove its fault's still present I should say, and we'll pull it apart and see if we can fix it. So on the front here, it's got a power switch, there's an infrared port, it's got some indicators, one says charging, one says on. I found a CD, Rave 92. Oh, that's right, this disc was a bit dodgy. There's a bit of coating missing off the actual top side of the disc, but I think it does play up to a point. Because when you play a disc, it goes from the inside to the outside. Unlike an LP or a record, vinyl, it goes from the outside to the inside. Got that? So I'm just going to try that and see if anything comes out. Turn it on. Screen is working, which is a good sign. It's always a good start. The on light is on. The charging light is not. Just trying to do the disc. Load the track so I can read the disc at least. Let's try push and play. It reckons it is playing already, actually. Volume control. All the way up, all the way down. Nothing happening. Let me grab some earphones and see if they work. Was I recording that last bit of video? I can't remember if I pushed the record button or not. So yes, it was playing up. But the headphones were working. Some on the back there too. There's a screw inside here. Here's a screw inside here. There's a screw inside the CD drive. Or DVD drive. Take those ones out as well then. Okay, is that all of them? Maybe that's all of them. There we go. Now it wants to move. Right. Where's this go? Oh, the flex is stuck to the bottom of the casing. Why is the flex stuck to the bottom of the casing? It's like it was intentional. It's got like an adhesive on there. Okay. Well, there's the inside. Let's have a close look. Bit dusty. There's a bit of, I don't know what there. Could be flux. Could be something else. That is what I think is wrong, is this thing. Built down to a price, certainly. So there's the drive mechanism with rubber brushes. Bit of fluff in there when they're cleaning out. So I'll unplug that. We've got these connectors up here. These things are a bit fragile sometimes. No, maybe it's just a push-in. Sometimes they're just push-ins. Yep, that is just a push-in. Okay. This one here is a release. That's that released. We've got this one over here, which is also got a release on it. You've got a wire soldered on which goes somewhere, I don't know where. Okay, I think I can get the screws out now. Yeah, I think I have to unclip this. Don't break. There we go. That slots in through there. Let's pull this one out. Oh, it goes to a speaker. This will all obviously need a really good clean. We'll put it back together. There's a switch here which will be sensing the lid. We want the socket up here. Can I pull that out? No. That speaker's been melted into place. Let me show you that. Bezel thing there. So the speaker puts into a hole, and then they melt the sides in to hold the speaker in place. So I'll be taking that out. There's lots of flux residue around the place and mess, and construction actually looks surprisingly good. The actual precision on the circuit board is quite small, really fine detail. Look at capacitors. Always like to look at capacitors. There's nothing obvious, so I might be doing them alone. I'm going to recap this thing. So let's do some testing on the audio socket on the side here. It has 10 pins and a common pin, so 9 pins available. Okay, so we've got 6 there, 4 there across here, and 1 there. So that'd be the common, like 0 volt, and this will be left and right with switching. Now, interestingly, it has positions for 2 speakers inside the unit. Right, there's another fake speaker grill over there. There's only 1 speaker, so this only actually outputs mono anyway. Cheapskate. So I've got the speaker wires going there. I'm actually wondering, has this actually got potential there for having 2 speakers? I wonder if it's actually designed to have 2 but not been installed. Do you know what? I think this is actually designed for 2 speakers. It's got 2 socket positions. One has got the wires soldered straight into it. It's a CN4. CN5 is not populated. And the traces from CN5 go down to the 3.5mm jack. So I reckon the cheapskates haven't put in a second speaker. Let's see what we get with this thing. So a common there. We should see nothing on any of these based on my assumption of how that should work. From the common, yep, because that's the 0 volt side. So there should be a switch side and a common, like a common switch side as well for left and right, and the through. So it should be a source and a switched output, which should be going through now. Because this doesn't actually appear to be switching the speaker on, but it's only got 1 speaker, so it might be there's only 1 switch which is at fault, and the other side's fine. So let's just see what we get. Let's try and find out where these signals are. There's nothing. So from that point there, those are both connected. This side here, they are not. So is that one there. Can I figure out these switches? These 2 are joined together. These 2 are joined together. As are those 2. As are those 2. Got that? Let's plug this in. So I've now got a socket plugged in. And we'll look at this again. So everything's changed. They're still joined together. They're still joined together. They're still joined together. Those now look different. So that's going through something. Now, these left 2 here are joined together, and these 2 here have 500 ohms across them. Or 200 ohms there, sorry. So those 2 are joined together. Those 2 are not joined together. It's got 30 ohms. What's this pin out? What the hell? Who knows? Think you heard an SOS in there. Yeah. Yeah, indeed. So what I'm going to do now is measure from the speaker connections over to the switch with the actual socket here and see if we get anything which makes sense. So let's go from that position. So the left hand connection is the common, which is the 0 volt side. So let's go to the other side. And we still have a connection. That's interesting. We've got 7 ohms. Okay, so that is tied to ground. So we're getting 7 ohms, 8 ohms there. So that's an 8 ohm speaker. There we go. So we're getting that. So that might complicate things. Let's just probe around, see what we get. So 0 ohms there, 0 ohms there. Both connections at that same side are working. That's got 8 ohms there, so that's the 0 volt side. So is that one. Does that tell us anything? It tells us the speaker itself is not fried because it has 8 ohms across it. But which connections are which on this bloody socket? I would have expected like a left and right side, but I'm not seeing anything which actually makes sense yet. So I've made the decision to remove the audio socket off the board. I don't really need to do that probably, but for the sake of exploration, I'm going to desolder the socket and then we can have a look and try and trace the circuitry. The little chip just here, that is the audio amplifier IC. It's a TDA2104 audio amplifier IC. My guess was that, based on proximity. You've got the volume control here and the socket obviously, and then it all splits off to this, so that made like sense that that was going to be an audio amplifier IC. And it said TDA, and TDA is usually audio amplifiers. It's quite commonly found TDA type devices. So I'm going to pull this socket off because it looks like it can actually be pulled apart as well. It looks like I've got some clips on there, some little clipping bits, so I'm going to pull it off and have a closer look at it. I mean, I could just flush it in IPA or chuck it in ultrasonic cleaner or something like that, but we're going to pull it apart and have a look. Okay, I've desoldered that. I saved you from the noise of the desoldering gun. So like I said, that front one was the common there. And I'm actually looking to see if I can actually get this thing apart, because it might be a nice exercise to pull this apart and have a look at it. Looks like it's 2 separate pieces. So I might just unclip this and see what happens. What could go wrong? It wouldn't break, would it? Well, probably not. I suppose if I break a clip I could always glue it back together. What's annoying me about this is my eyesight is not as good as it was even a year ago. It's deteriorated quite a bit in the past year. So it's a bit frustrating in some ways because I should be able to see this really easily, and it's actually a bit more of a struggle now than it used to be. There you go, it's starting to come off. Right. So this looks like it's a switch. It is. That is an actual switch. And it's got a wiper inside here. So when you push a plug in, it actually pushes this over. So let's get a plug, let's push it in. So when you push a plug in, it pushes that over, which will then activate the switch. So that's worth pulling apart, I think. We'll spray some cleaner in there. Can I pull this apart some more? I think I probably can. Hopefully without breaking it. Alright, let's try and get in here and see if I can pop this open without breaking the clip. This is a terrible thing to do just in tweezers. And on camera you can probably see this better than I can. There we go. Also, before I forget,
click subscribe right now, quick, before you forget.
Haven't used that in a little while. Okay, so there is that part, and it looks exactly like just about any other slide switch. So usually what will happen is these get a bit weak because they just have saddles basically that go over the contacts there, and they get a bit weak and they won't gripping properly. Or it could be a bit grime in there. So what I'm going to do is pull these off like that. Does it look like it's closing up properly? Actually it does. It does look like it's closing quite well. So maybe that's fine. Maybe this needs a really good clean. So there is a little bit of dirt in there, but you know, a little bit of tarnishing. It's not too bad. Looks like it's silver plated. Let's pull the other one off. Same deal, they're both closed up fully. So the tension isn't a problem. Sometimes it is a tension, which is the problem. And flip this around. And yeah, that's all. A little bit of tarnishing in there too. So we'll give this a clean up and we'll put it back together. So I've sprayed some cleaner in it and now I've pushed the connector in. And that's opened up these contacts down here as well. Alright, so it's got some switching contacts in here as well. This could be switching audio and the other part could be switching something else. Maybe it's doing some other kind of function. Anyway, we'll have a little scrape inside here between these contacts as well, because that way it will definitely be cleaning up those contacts. So when you pull the headphone socket out, or the headphone jack out, it will close those contacts and link between these two, right? Which is what we were seeing, those two being linked together before. So by doing that, that should make sure that there's definitely a connection between them when you pull the socket out. Just a little gentle rub, so I'll put some deoxit on it anyway, and we'll do the same on this side. In there, if I can get to it. How's that one work? That big wiper arm we got here, which is activating that switch on the end, that actually goes to this outer contact here, and then when it's relaxed in the neutral position, it's actually touching against the contact which makes contact to this pin. So in this state, those two should be connected together, and these two should be connected together. So we should be able to test that right now actually, before we do anything else. Yep. Yep. So we've got 0 ohms that side, 0 ohms that side, so yep, that's okay. So that should be actually working, so we'll finish cleaning up this switch here. Right, so I'll put this switch here back together again, so we should get a contact between these two. If I can hold it down. We do. And the other two, we do. Clip it to the right. Should get the other side. Yep. All my bad connections. Yep, that's working. Yep. So that switch here is definitely working. So we know the switches are now working. Solder this up and hopefully get it on camera without my hand being in the way, which is always the challenge with trying to record video. I'm using this really chunky solder because I'm trying to get rid of it. I've had it for years. It's got really good flux in it, but it's not really good for doing really fine stuff, and that's what I'm getting more and more into, so trying to use this one up. It's almost gone. It's taken a while though because it's so chunky. But it's got really good flux in it, so it's really good for doing things which are a bit old and tarnished. Whereas the other stuff I've got, which is silver solder, it's got very little flux in it in comparison, and it takes a lot more effort to get a nice joint. You have to actually add flux sometimes, or quite often have to add flux to that one. Whereas this will do it just fine as it is. Oh, let's see how that came out. Too much solder on one of them. A bit blobby. Blobby blobby.
Blobby, blobby, blobby!
You reckon? Good enough? I think it's probably better than factory. So I've got it back together. Will it still work? I don't know. I could have actually made it worse. You know, we'll find out. Let's drop this in. Power it on. Does the screen still work? The screen still works. That's a good start. It's playing. The speaker is working, but it's very quiet. So it is actually fixed. It is working. It's just very quiet. Let's check the headphones. If I had two speakers, it'd be twice as loud. Yeah, it is working, but it's very quiet. Yep. The volume is a bit of an issue, I think, but it works. Good enough. Why is it quiet? I don't know. I'm not going to look into that. Well, there's that thing fixed. That seems to work now. Volume is a bit low. I'm not going to investigate that. I don't care. There is sound out for the speaker, there's sound from the headphones now. That's good enough to give away to someone. Just say, yeah, take an op shop or something like that, you know, Sally's or something, and they can give it to someone, and someone will make use of it, I'm sure. You know, you can always plug the headphone jack into an amplifier, you know, one of those little speaker amplifier things. You can get one of them, couldn't you? Really wanted better, less sound. So check out the videos down below in the description, and whatever for other repairs. Maybe it's consumer electronics like this, maybe it's test gear, which is what I'm really into, is test gear repairs. Just go over there and Patreon support link over there if you want help to buy bits of test gear to fix to do videos about, because that's what I like doing. This is just a bit different. Click like, subscribe, and
Click subscribe right now, quick, before you forget.
you can blame Julian for that. Bye.